Total War is a sandbox. There are endless possibilities on how to win your campaigns. The thing is, it is not always that obvious how to do this. Like, did you know you can win 3 kingdoms without declaring war on anyone? Or that your faction doesn't need to grow strong in their starting position? Most people go for the classics, like conquering a historical empire, following the missions, or reacting to whatever happens around them. However, I will give you 5 unique ways to play Total War that just might help you spice up your campaigns. Ruling an entire empire by yourself can be both tiresome and micromanaging. A bit too simple as well for some perhaps. So, let's split it up into vassals. You will only be allowed to possess a certain amount of regions compared to your subjects. If you go above the intended domain size, trade them to a vassal and continue expanding. Perhaps you are only allowed 3 provinces, or just 1. Of course, this form of campaigns is easier in some specific games, whereas it can feel practically impossible in others. Let's focus on the ones where it is possible. Total War Attila, Total War Troy. Basically any Total War game with region trading, this should be a piece of cake, and a must try. Total War 3 Kingdoms even takes this approach a step further with the warlord Liu Biao. His faction has a unique effect called governance. It limits you to a certain amount of regions before receiving major penalties and encourages you to vassalize other factions. Your governance will thus increase by the more vassals you possess, or whatever buildings you build. Maybe even try it in Warhammer 3 as Slanesh, where you can seduce other factions to become your vassal. Your job is then to maintain and defend your allies, while the AI mindlessly declares war on them for the most unusual reasons, or even without any at all. It is an excellent experience that will give you the feeling of playing tall rather than just wide as we usually do. A proper lord even, whose subjects are constantly at war among each other. It will be challenging and tactical at the same time. I highly recommend this. I can't be the only one who loves the race animation from Total War Attila, right? Well, as long as it is us who do the racing and not the AI against us. So why not do that to the entire world? Play as the Huns and show Europe why they made the Romans cry. Take Dong Shuo and prove there's truth in some rumors and burn down all his challengers. Play as anyone from Troy and set fire to the one standing in his way. Plunge the world into chaos with Khorne and their faction abilities, which actually encourage this playstyle. It will be a long journey to ruin the entire world in any game, so we could also make it a bit more achievable. Use the Scandinavian factions from Attila and set fire to Britannia as the Vikings did, or will do in this case. This one is probably my favorite way to play Total War, but is sadly also limited to just one game. In Total War 3 Kingdoms, it is literally possible to win the campaign without actively seeking out a war. And no, that is not just because the AI is so damn aggressive. With its undercover network, it is possible to steal characters from enemy factions through the turncoat mechanic, or just plant one of your own in their court. Once they are there, it is possible to lower the satisfaction of any characters within the court. And I literally mean any. Like, I was able to get Zhong Fei and Guan Yu to Cao Cao's faction by discrediting the faction and its characters. Once that satisfaction is low enough, they will become turncoats themselves for you to snatch up. If you manage to make an administrator, not from the capital commandery, turn to your side, it is possible to make him surrender the administrated territory to you. The key to getting other characters to turncoat is by using the discredit faction's action on as many different characters within the court as possible. For each one, all characters will receive a -10 satisfaction penalty. Once they are close to turn, use the discredit character button, which gives -30 satisfaction for that specific character. Apart from the spy system, you can use your surplus of food, gold or ancillaries to trade regions, slowly expanding your dynasty little by little. If a faction is stuck with just one commandery, make them a subject of yours and use their armies to defend you. Inevitably, you will reach the Three Kingdoms stage. Here, all you need to do is defend your borders and defeat your enemies in battle. At some point, you'll become so strong that you can make them abdicate, thus winning the campaign. A great challenge that will force you to think outside the box and feel like you are the master schemer South really was. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the Saxons decided to migrate to Syria? Try it! In Attila, each faction can go into their faction menu and choose migrate, converting your entire faction into a horde. Now it is time for you to battle your way down to whatever region you feel is better suited for your rising kingdom. Although that feature helps make this work, it is not necessary as per se. Take Sparta from Rome too and march an army into Germania. Forget your ancestral home, make a new one up there. Flee Troy with Paris, raise your settlement, which is the new feature C8 recently added to the game, and find a new life for yourself in Thrace perhaps. Roleplay as one of the warlords of the Three Kingdoms, Yuan Shao perhaps, and say he has received an imperial decree to exterminate the non-man of the south. March down there and struggle with the initial supply problems. Arrive at one of the port settlements and create a base of operations. And next, you need to deal with all the debuffs you'll face to give you an exceptional challenge. This playstyle is perfect if you have a preferred faction but want to face other units than what you otherwise would do in the early to mid game. The Great Bastion of Grand Cathay is constantly defending itself from chaos forces who try to bring an end to their existence. For many, like myself, dealing with them alone will be challenging, but maybe for the most experienced and battle-hardened commanders of Total War, you will be able to face the entire world. Declare war on everyone and take on the This Is Total War challenge and see how hard this franchise can actually be. Gongshuo from Three Kingdoms is practically at war with half the realm already. Let your enemies form the grandest coalition the world has ever seen and crush them with Lu Bu. It is possible in every Total War game. Empire Total War, Rome, Attila, Troy, all of them. You better get going. I highly recommend you'll try some of these many unique ways to play Total War. Apart from the ones I've mentioned today, there are countless other ways to play it. Stick to the sea and form a coastal empire with your navies as a true power. Perhaps become a vassal yourself and help your master evolve the greatest nation that ever existed. If you can think of it, just try it. It is super fun no matter what. Now I want to know what your favorite way to play Total War is. Have you played like one of the mentioned ways before? Let me know in the comments below. But until the next time, goodbye.